Good morning and welcome to Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. As ever, when you're joining us for the first time, please go ahead and subscribe to Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. We really need your support. Help us grow this platform. We're giving you as much information as possible, and we're urging you to participate in your governance. For too long, we have all been passive participants in our governance. What do I mean by being passive? We go to church on Sunday, we go to the mosque on Friday, we pray, we say what the government tells us to do, and we forget to use the powers that are within the constitution for us to use as citizens to hold those in government to account. That is what we call active participation in your governance. What do I mean by that? You go to your governance and you question them because you have these following powers. The following powers: it is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government through the constitution derives all its powers and authority. We have that power. And then how do we use the power? Through participation in our governance. The participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. You can see that these are the two powers that we have, but we are not been using it. Instead, we have been passive participants in our governance, going to church to pray, going to the mosque to pray. You have to forget all that. Right now, you need to become active participants. Section 14.2a, study it. Section 14.2c, study it. Rememorize it. Use it. Start telling everybody in your local community. That is the only way you can hold them to account, and begin to ask for the monthly allocation for your local government. You need to know it, because those money should be used to fix your infrastructure. That is where it begins. Now, to that end, I want to show you something. Let us listen to this guy. Ahmed Lawan is trying to cover up what the senator was exposing here. Listen to the words here. And this is why you need to be active participant in your governance, using the laws within that fraudulent 1999 constitution to hold them to account. And you have the power to do so, because sovereignty belongs to you within your local government area. That is a sovereignty, and you can exercise those powers to hold those elected into office to account. Listen on. Let's go.
Mr. President, at my age, I don't think I will lobby anybody under the sun. I would do the right thing.
Adamu Bulkachuwa.
I always do the right
Bulkachuwa.
thing, sincerely and honestly too.
So you see, the name is Adamu Bulkachuwa, Senator Adamu Bulkachuwa of the National Assembly. This is what he said. Keep listening now.
I know. I look at faces in this chamber whom have come to me and sought for my help when my wife was the president of the Court of Appeal. And I'm sure
that is like perjury right there, isn't it? He should be called in for questioning. Will they call him for questioning? They won't, because they are the government. That is where you come in. This is where you come in as citizens. We need to, each community, the local government area, for that man, Senator Bulkachuwa, the local government area should find out. I will need to find out what local government area is that comes under his jurisdiction. So let me do something quickly as we're doing this. So he's talking. We will listen more to what he's saying, and I'll go and find that local government area whilst he's doing this. So, but you need to exercise these powers to hold them to account. The powers you see here: sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through its constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Section 14.2a, 14.2c. The provision, the participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Section 14.2c. We need to use those two powers. We have sovereignty. We participate in our governance by holding them to account, and they have to answer to us, because sovereignty belongs to us collectively within our local government area, and we can exercise that power collectively. Now, let's listen on. Let's listen on.
Distinguished Senator Adamu Bulkachuwa, I think I will advise that you just round up and take your seat.
Name any names. We know ourselves.
No, but this kind of insinuation will mean that there was favor, there was this and that.
You see, he's trying to hide the fact that there is favor and there are things that they're doing among themselves. He's trying to hide it. The Senator Ahmed Lawan doesn't want that to come out. But the other senator was talking because he didn't care. He doesn't really understand the impact of what he's saying. They don't care. In fact, even if he doesn't care, nothing will happen to him, because he's what? They are above the law in their eyes. The laws are not for them. That is why I keep telling you all, our participation, we have been passive participants in our governance. We need to become active participants in our governance. See that? Please read it, study it, use it. You can see I've got the X across there. I don't believe in the constitution, but these powers we can use, and we have to use that power to hold them to account and begin to and get to the point where we now instruct them to insert a clause for a referendum inside the constitution. That is the step we must take. Let's carry on.
The rest of it, I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I must say that, okay, to round up, since that's what you want me to do, I will do that. And I must thank particularly my wife, whose freedom and independence I encroached upon.
Can you see he's even admitting to a wrong on the Senate floor?
While she was in office. And she has been very tolerant and accepted my encroachment and extended her help to my colleagues.
Distinguished, please, I don't think this is a good idea going this direction. It's not a good idea.
So he doesn't want them to. He doesn't want what they're doing. The conning ways that they're doing. He doesn't want it exposed. That senator is doing it because he thinks he doesn't care. I've left anywhere. I'm going or whatever. Nothing can do me, because that is what is happening. Our failure to hold them to account. When we finish this part of the discussion, I'm going to go to his local government area. Let us see how much money they get in that local government area, and let us see how go and look at that area. We're going to explore that a little bit more. But I'll do it now, and I might do it live.
It's not a good idea, please.
So let's hear what they say on channels now. So let us forward it a bit to channels now to see what they say here. So let us hear what they have to say on channels about it.
Advocate of Nigeria, former Attorney General for Akwa Ibom
So let's
joins
listen.
us next to
Let's listen and dissect what they're saying here.
Perspective on that piece we just heard. It wasn't any insinuation, Mr. Nwoko, because he is the man who says this exactly happened. And that raised a lot of questions for several people, not just in this country,
Sorry.
but even other Nigerians who are abroad saying, wait a minute,
Yes.
is this what has been happening in the judiciary?
Exactly.
How can this ever be?
There you go.
Asked, so even some members in the Senate there, he said, benefited from the benevolence of his wife. So how could or is or you, the judiciary, taking this kind of revelation?
So evidence of compromised judiciary. Now, when we say to you that the judiciary is not independent, here is the clear evidence. He admitted it. His wife has helped people, members in the Senate. How are we on Nigeria again? We have to become active participants in our governance. Hold them to account. Let's go ahead and listen to this. Very, very important section. You see?
Good morning, Chamberlain, and good morning, our viewers.
Do you see before the guy spoke, he went, let's go back again. I want you to see that. I want you to see that. Watch this now.
Exactly happened.
Watch his reaction. No. Watch his reaction.
Several people, not just in this country, but even other Nigerians who are abroad saying, wait a minute, is this what has been happening in the judiciary? How can this ever be? In fact, some ask, so even some members in the Senate there, he said, benefited from the benevolence of his wife. So how could or is or you, the judiciary, taking this kind of revelation?
Watch now. You see, he puffed his mouth because he doesn't know how to, because he can't hide. Watch.
Good morning, Chamberlain, and good morning, our viewers. Just like other Nigerians, just like other well-meaning Nigerians, we received that information. I wouldn't really say with shock, but I think with great pleasure, because it gives hope that one day in Nigeria, we will get to find out, to know more than we do know right now. that revelation by the
Bulkachuwa,
distinguished Senator
Adamu Bulkachuwa.
Bulkachuwa
It's not distinguished.
is a pointer to the fact that a lot of the things that we see and we work with are not exactly what they ought to be. Let me begin by saying this. Let me put like a way of caution that whatever he said about the role of his wife as the president of the Court of Appeal should not be taken as a judgment on the judiciary. We have judicial officers with very high integrity. We have a judiciary that can be counted upon. We have a judiciary that is still the last of the common man. We have a judiciary that is delivering judgments and making rulings and making decisions based purely on what the law says and what it should be.
But Mr. Mogo, I mean, the Parliament to jump in. Mr. Abakoba also, as a former NBA, he led the NBA as well, thinks that this is a disgrace. And several other people think that senior lawyers, judiciary, NBA, they have to respond or speak about this kind of revelation here. So do you think along that line, should the former president of the Court of Appeal also speak up on this matter? Because several instances, this kind of insinuations came through and she flatly denied it.
That's well, she might have denied it in the past, but today her husband has come to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay, thank you. It's frozen, but sooner rather than later it should be back. But, well, it came through.
And we should not.
Yeah.
Are you with me? Are you with
yes.
Me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, what the point I'm making is that for her and for those who work with her, it's a big disgrace to her as a person. It's a big disgrace to her family. It's a big disgrace to what she represents. But I am very cautiously putting it that we should not use this revelation as a benchmark for judging the Nigerian judiciary. Yes, her husband has come to relate it because these things there were suspicions. There were certain decisions that called to question the standard applied, but it was denied. But today, the shame is on her. The shame is on her family. The shame is on her husband who led her to compromise the integrity and the system. But my caution is that we should not use it as a benchmark for judging the Nigerian judiciary, because that is not all that we represent. But for her as a person, for her family, for her husband, they are a big disgrace to the Nigerian system.
Yeah, but I did ask also that. Look,
before we go ahead, I want to show you the picture of his wife. We don't know her. I'll get her name out as well. I want to show you a picture of his wife and mention her name. Her name is Justice Zainab Bulkachuwa. Justice Zainab Bulkachuwa. And here is her picture. We don't do that. Let's not let this go away like this. So we're gonna do this. So you see her picture coming up. Not that one. Sorry about that. Not that one. That's not it. Sorry. It's coming up in a minute. Give me a minute, please. So we're going to play that for you shortly, because I think it's good to put it in the way. His wife they're talking about, we need to make sure that we know who that is. Not this one. Sorry about this. I don't know what's going on here. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. Give me a minute. That's not the one. So we'll stitch. Okay. Just want to quickly show you so we know. So there we have it. That's the one. So that is Justice Zainab Bulkachuwa. Justice Zainab Bulkachuwa. There should be this guy should be arrested. They should be. She's 83. Represented, sorry. Zainab was president of Court of Appeal from April 2014 to March 2020. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. So, anyway, we'll carry on let's listen on a bit more.
Look, shouldn't senior lawyers, the NBA, shouldn't they be, I mean, what kind of statements should they even make? And if they make those statements, of what implication or importance or import will those statements be?
You just asked a good question. This thing came up 3 days ago or thereabouts. And people don't just jump to issue statements, particularly people heading institutions. I'm sure senior lawyers, I'm sure the NBA, I'm sure the body of benchers, which I am a member, would begin to appraise the situation and come up with their position. But it cannot be an overnight thing. And I don't expect anybody to rush to issue statements. I don't expect any institution to rush to draw immediate standard position that should be presented. So I expect that the body of benchers, the Nigerian Bar Association, other civil society organizations, senior lawyers will begin to appraise this issue and make comments on them. But the past 3 days is not enough to say, oh, why haven't they said something?
Pardon me, but
something? It's too early.
I know that you also have law students who listen to this kind of scenario. They hear these statements and judgments have been handed down. It's also etched in history. So how should this be approached for those category of people? And for those who think, wait a minute, should we go back to previous judgments that have been handed down, that she presided over? What can be done in the light of this statement in that regard?
Well, yesterday, right here in my office, I had a situation where a friend brought a young daughter to join the office as an intern. And we had opportunity of discussing this kind of thing. What happens to the future of our children? I have 3 young lawyers coming up to practice the same law. And it's very unfortunate that they are coming to inherit a situation that needs a great deal of management and repair. That is the truth. What we inherited, it's not what they are coming to inherit. There is a big line of problem. And we particularly, the regulators of the judicial system, the regulators of the legal profession, particularly the body of benchers, need to do a self-appraisal. They need to take time to look at it again. And then, of course, the process of recruitment of judicial officers, not only that, of management of their conduct over the years. Because you're talking about the former president of the Court of Appeal at the highest level in Nigeria. And so this is a major regulator herself. She was occupying a regulatory office. And so if this is a dent on the way she managed her office, you now know that there's a problem. I agree completely there's a problem. So we now need to do and manage it, particularly so that the younger ones that are coming up will not have lost hope in the system they inherited. They will not have lost hope in the future of their profession, because truly, there is, no matter what we face, we don't have an option other than to continue to depend on the judiciary as the last of the common man, as the body that will continue to dispense justice.
So, some people will say that this raises questions about, the marriage of the
serious
political
questions
class with members of the judiciary, and we've seen we know many more politicians who are married to judges. So there are questions as to whether or not, there should be any, maybe legislation or, let's say barrier now, preventing people who are married to judges from joining politics. Do we have to go down that extreme lane?
No, it will be difficult to do. I wouldn't subscribe to that opinion. But what we need to do is to ensure that whichever judicial officer takes the oath of office should be accountable for that oath that she takes. And then when we have a close monitoring system, he will be able to draw the line so that wherever somebody crosses the line of the oath of office, it should be answerable to it. But it will be difficult to make a law or amend the constitution to say that the judicial officer should not be married to a politician. I mean that will be going to the higher level of extremity. And if you take them away from politicians, what of military people? What of people in other areas? What of businessmen? if a judicial officer is the spouse of a major businessman who has a case, the same influence that the politician would exert on the spouse would also be extended. There's no way you can completely shield it off. So judicial officers cannot be totally excluded or prevented from getting married to a particular set of. They will not be married to judicial officers only, and to say that, oh, that we now keep a close family link. So it would always be there. But all we need to do is let the system, regulatory system, become more responsive to the situations that we face, so that this kind of shameful revelations will not come.
Well, the president has been talking about judicial reform, so we'll look to see what manner those reforms will further take, as it were. But we do thank you for your perspectives. Uwemoko, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, former Attorney General for Akwa Ibom State and the body of benches, as you also heard him say. Well, let's take a look at some feedback.
So, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's an exposition. The judge should certainly be called to be into question. But will that happen? And what does that say about the current appeal that on the presidential election? What does that say? Do you have confidence in that process? We are asking all these questions not because we want to just be troublemakers or something. We're just trying to find out how we can trust a system when somebody like this, when something like this is happening. For a number of years, 2014 to 2020, she was president of the Court of Appeal. So anybody that went through that process, she had heavily influence supporting senators. And that's why I'm saying the legislature and the judiciary are not independent. What's your take? Anyway, you're of course watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. When you get this podcast, please do share. What's your comment on it? Before you go, let's just ask you and urge you to please go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. And of course, it's a platform where we speak truth to power. We hope you find this beneficial. Just one more thing to add before I go. You need to participate in your governance. I think I've said that time and again, with times without number, and we will continue to share that message because it really is the only way we can achieve the things that we really want to achieve. It is very important that we, allow, we begin as citizens to actively participate in our governance. Of course, the Constitution gives us that right, and we need to use that right, or else this kind of thing will continue to happen. So I want you to memorize Section 14(2)(a). Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through its constitution, derives all its powers and authority. 14(2)(c). The participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. You need to know those two things off head. Share it in all your communities, in all 774 local government areas. It is of imperative importance we do so, because the likes of this kind of injustice going on is not acceptable. So, ladies and gentlemen, of course, you've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. I'll come and do a live broadcast shortly on the continuing awareness that we're trying to raise in terms of people being able to scrutinize the monthly allocation from the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, so that the communities, the whole communities, can come together and scrutinize those amounts and question the local government chairmen and the State House of Assembly members and the governors and the House of Reps and senators as to where the funds are, and demand that those funds be released. And it's when all of them are asking in each of the states collectively, there has to be tabled on the floor of the Senate. So this is something that we need to be doing right now. We need to be doing that right now. So I'm going to try and talk more about it later on. You've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power, about later on. Leave a comment. What are your thoughts on this? I'm going to leave the picture of that judge there. And, how do you see it? It's just, I think it's sickening, to be honest. It is really sickening. It's unacceptable. So, those are the two there. It says the former president of the Court of Appeal is exposed as helping senators. So that's what it is there. So let me just check that again quickly. Make it an adjustment to that there. So here we go. So here we go. Just make sure that it's there correctly in the right manner. Okay. So we're gonna do this now. So I'm just getting this done. Bear with me, please. Just give you so you can have a you'll see it, and of course when you see this, please we urge you to share, and I will talk about this again on a live broadcast as well, because these are the reasons why we're saying Nigeria is fraudulent. It's not a nation we can trust, and we need to build Yoruba nation, and we have to the step to get Yoruba nation has to include a self-determination, a referendum clause. A referendum clause must be inserted in this current fraudulent 1999 constitution, but it's through our active participation that will happen. No other way. Nobody from above, no God, no Muhammad, nobody will get that the clause inserted into the constitution. It is our actions, our active participation in government, holding those we elected to office to account, telling them the message we want them to go and pass into the center, and make sure that message is delivered on our behalf till we get the referendum clause inserted in that constitution. So let me just quickly wrap this up here. So there we have it. So we're just showing you what's going on. Please do share when you get the broadcast. You're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. Just a question: how many cases has she influenced wrongly in support of senators? How many cases do we know? Those cases need to be investigated. What are your thoughts? You're of course watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. Batletron. Thank you and bye for now. Please do share, and share. Don't forget to subscribe to Citizen Network on YouTube. So just go ahead, subscribe, hit notification button, and of course give us a thumbs up. So thank you so much. You've been watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you and bye for now. So